It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back. You're live with Expresso right here on S3 as we delve beyond the final frontier. Now, we've heard all types of crazy and intriguing space news stories already this year. It's been a fantastic run. One upcoming project, though, is launching a wooden satellite into space for the first time ever in history to see how it fares. Science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kahnemer, now joins us to tell us a little bit more. Dr. Dan, welcome back, buddy. We've loved this year for science and space exploration, but this is something slightly different. Is it the WISA WoodSat is the name of the wooden satellite being built in Finland? Is this like the ultimate expression of going green? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a more environmentally friendly material, but it's relatively cheap compared to some of the materials which are used for space. But it's a very exciting experiment, developing a new material which can potentially be used in space and exposing it to the conditions of space, which are, extreme heat, extreme cold, some radiation from the sun. So it's a serious project, and it's quite an interesting idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly we've got to explore the tools that we can use out there because we are really exploring out there now. And I'm assuming there are certain challenges in using wood in space, or our scientists would have jumped on this before. What are they expecting is going to be the big challenge to introducing this material into that environment?
Yeah, so there's certainly challenges, and the radiation of space. So you get the direct radiation from the sun. You're not protected by the atmosphere, and that wreaks all sorts of hazards on materials in space, and that's something you have to protect against. So the challenges you face with wood, firstly, it's made with sort of basic plywood that you'd make furniture out of. So it's a very simple base. But you have to take all of the moisture out, firstly, because wood is obviously quite moist, and that won't go very well in space. And then they apply a very thin layer of aluminium oxide, and that's to protect it from this solar radiation.
I was thinking petroleum jelly might work. We use it for our skin. We've seen those ads. Come on, surely it must work. So what future outcomes or possibilities could there be from this project being a success? Where are we hoping this is going to go?
Yeah, so as you mentioned at the beginning, so this, what we're seeing now was a test. It went up to 31 Ks, and that was just up on a balloon. The actual satellite is going up to 500 kilometers, and that'll be launched on a rocket, hopefully later this year or early next year. But then another exciting thing on the horizon is that we are working with this team here at the observatory to launch one of these satellites on a balloon later this year. So in November, we're planning to launch a satellite on a balloon from Sutherland.
I love that, man, and congratulations, another feather in our cap. I would imagine there are a lot of people now thinking of what am I going to carve out there? Are you going to scrape your name into the satellite? So how will this work, and how much does it need? Because surely the costs involved in something like this are far less than in an ordinary kind of space endeavor like this. How is that project going to roll out from the South African perspective?
So the plan actually is to get students involved. So
Brilliant.
We will get students to build the satellites. We can maybe bring 10 or more little KitSats which the students can build, and then the winner we can send to space. So they're quite simple to make, these little satellites. There are some expenses, but it's actually not too bad.
Absolutely brilliant. We love where this is going, and I love the fact that there is a South African connection and that you are there, and I know we'll be covering the build-up to that on our show undoubtedly. Thank you so much for opening our eyes into something that we haven't ever seen before, which is always a really cool thing. Thanks as always, Dr. Dan, for giving us your time and an awesome space update, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
That's a Scandinavian building a satellite made out of plywood to launch into space in November this year. We will undoubtedly keep you covered with more updates.